Hey, good morning, fellas. Uh, had a quick minute to do a little video for you, just kind of explaining, drop shot 101, I'd call it. Unfortunately, don't have time to be out on the water today. Got a sick baby, and we're dealing with rainy day schedule here and high winds currently. Got a Delta event this weekend, 2 day. Looking forward to fishing that. You better believe drop shot will be tied on. I believe in the drop shot. A lot of people probably still don't know how to use it. Maybe they overlook it, throwing bigger baits. But trust and believe you can catch big fish using a drop shot. For me, it's one of my go-to baits techniques. I have the confidence to know that I can put a limit of fish as a tournament angler in my live well. Not always going to get the big ones, but at the same time, there's been tournaments, even on the Delta, where our biggest fish of the event came on a drop shot, and we're talking, 6+ pounders. So very doable. I've caught fish on drop shots from a foot, 2 foot of water on the Delta, to 90, 100 feet deep out at McClure fishing bridge pilings or, just deep water areas. So it's a very versatile technique, but it's a finesse technique that can really present a bait naturally in the water column, to really get you on the fish. Can produce bites when other baits seem to fail. So anyway, without further ado, I want to kind of go over quickly what I like to use as far as tackle. One of the keys is, let me try to change this angle. No, it's not going to let me. Okay, so one of the keys is fluorocarbon fishing line. I hope you guys can see that. I have a couple of different brands here, from inexpensive, this spider wire easy fluoro. I don't know how familiar you guys are with fluorocarbon, but it's essential for drop shotting. It has a very low stretch. It has invisibility, very sensitive for bite detection, and a really good hookup to land ratio for a drop shot. The key is, whatever the smallest diameter that you can get away with fishing. I don't know what kind of bodies of water you're fishing, if it's clear water or stained or whatever, but out here in California, you guys are well aware some of the highland reservoirs that I fish, as far as McClure, Pedro, various ones, Comanche, Berryessa, all these different ones. A lot of situations where I'm fishing clear water, maybe 10 to 50 feet deep, depending on the time of year and whatever. Definitely not limited to that. I like to fish 6-pound line, sometimes 4, but usually 6 to 8 is kind of where I like to start. If I got wood, I might bump up to 10, 12. There's even situations where I'll go, even bigger than that. You could definitely throw a drop shot on a bait casting rod with braid and a fluoro leader, or even just straight braid in specific situations. Pulling fish out of heavy cover would be the ideal situation for doing something like that. But typically, 7-foot spinning rod is what I use. This one here is a bionic blade. It's got a fast tip, made by Bass Pro Shops, medium action. I currently have 6-pound line, Seagar, 100% fluorocarbon, the red label, is what I'm throwing. And I have that paired with a Shimano Sahara. Hopefully you can see that. 2500, just a standard, medium action setup here. Let me see here, 1 second. Let me get this undone here. Okay, so here's what I currently have tied on here, and the way I have this done here. So if you guys can see that, I have a number 4 Gamakatsu drop shot hook on there, and that worm is kind of wacky looking right now. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. Alright, so this is a Chompers 4-inch milky sand color drop shot worm. It's got a garlic scent added to it. I really like it. I got about, currently, probably about 6 to 8 inch leader, and then a drop shot weight on there with a really nasty looking tagline that I didn't do too well of taking off. No judgment. I was fishing a canal in Winton with my son yesterday and just kind of got a little sloppy. This is kind of the standard rig. I mean, you know, I do leader as short as 6 to 8 inches and maybe as long as, 3 feet, depending on the conditions and what I'm doing. If bass are on beds, I kind of like a short leader. There's some guys that hold true to leader no longer than your worm. So it's just, it kind of varies angler to angler. But the key is just getting your bait out there, dropping it down. A lot of times guys that's why it's called a drop shot. They'll just drop it over the side of the boat, get it down to the bottom, get your weight in contact with the bottom, and just kind of shake your tip with your rod parallel to the water. Don't hold your rod tip up, just hold it straight out and just shake the tip, and the tail of that worm will just kind of move, and that's it. I mean, it's a real simple deal. You'll feel a little nibble when they suck that worm in, and it's just kind of not a big strong hook set. You just kind of lift the tip, keep the pressure on the fish, and reel them on in. I mean, it's very simplistic. Guys will be throwing baits all day long. You can go in behind guys that are maybe throwing bigger baits or reaction or whatever, and you can catch quality fish right behind quality fishermen, even on a drop shot. Fill up the live well and win a check. I've done it several times, and it wasn't necessarily me per se. It was that drop shot. So a guy, if you want to follow somebody that is a professional and has really made a lot of money using a drop shot, my suggestion is Aaron Martins. I would say that he is the best in the business when it comes to drop shotting. So check out some Aaron Martins videos and get on out there on the water. I want to give you guys some actual hooks and weights and whatnot here before I go, actually. So lastly, let's look at my hook selection here. I have Bass Pro Shops brand. I have Owner brand. This is a size 4, which is about as small as I like to go. I mean, imagine big fish and you only have them on a hook that size. It's kind of, you're playing with fire at times. This is a size 2. Got a little rust on it, but disregard that. This is about as big as I like to go usually, typically. And this is open water conditions, for the most part. If I get into some conditions where I feel I need to go weedless, this is a size 1 Gamakatsu, thin wire, detrimental, at least in my opinion and in my experiences. You have a couple of different styles of weights. You have the traditional ball weight. This is a 3/16 and a 1/4 ounce. I'll go as big as a 1/2 ounce, typically deep water. And I'll go as small as, maybe like a 1/16. I like this pencil style. It seems to get snagged less. This is a 1/16, 1/8, and 3/16. But again, I'll go as big as a 1/2 ounce. That 1/4 ounce, 3/8, and 1/2 are definitely, they have a place in my assortment of tackle. As far as worms, here's some different worms here. My favorite, like I showed you already, is that Chompers. This is a different color. I really like the garlic scent. I like that 4-inch, that small profile. You know, it's mimicking a bait fish. Definitely find out what the natural forage is on your body of water. Try to match the hatch, as they say, quote unquote. Here's a 6-inch zoom worm, and then a couple big baits. I mean, look at my arm compared to these. I think this is an 8 or 9-inch, and I think this might be 12 or 13. You know, it's whatever you can believe. You know, one way to do it is fill up the boat, you know, get a limit, and then maybe pick a bigger bait. Go after a bigger fish. Not always the rule of thumb, but definitely can work for you. Maybe later I can do something when I have more time and kind of go over in the boat actually, you know, using the technique. Any more questions? Give me a holler, guys. Tight lines.